Diversity. Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on the BQN Podcast Collective. I'm your host for today, Thad, and joining me is my co-host, Chrissie. How are you today, Chrissie?
I'm feeling like a new hope for the future. Maybe changing the way that I've been doing things might be for the better. We'll see.
Okay.
It might create an entirely new timeline, too. I don't know.
Well, those are a dime a dozen anyway. All right, and also joined with us today is Tony Robinson. Welcome to Infinite Diversity.
Hey, somebody opened a bottle of some strange drink and I just managed to appear here, and I have no idea how that happened, but they're inhaling some strong stuff, that's all I'll say.
Well, we do love to inhale some strong stuff here on Infinite Diversity, so...
Or drinking some strong stuff as well, maybe.
That's fun.
Before we...
I'll have to have a word with that guy, and she's handling some dangerous liquids.
Before we jump into our topic for today, we'd like to take a moment to remind you all that we are on Patreon, where you can help make our show possible and even possibly become an associate producer. You can do that with a monthly subscription of just $10 at patreon.com/BQN.
Well, the big news this week was, of course, The Strange New Worlds red carpet premiere in New York City. And we have a direct report from that from Thad. Thad, what's your take?
It was amazing. I was very lucky to be able to go to the premiere in New York City. As we are recording this on Sunday, that happened just yesterday. I went with fellow network podcast host Ria Papagiorgio from Galaxy Class, and we had a fantastic time. We saw the first 2 episodes, and I won't spoil anything because you're all going to see them soon enough, but I think you'll love them. And I really enjoyed the introduction to the new characters. I liked the themes that we were getting. We were getting some very Star Trek themes. It was just fantastic. It was just some amazing Star Trek. I can't wait to watch more. And actually, from talking to some friends who have had access to a few more episodes through screeners for reviews, apparently, the next few episodes are even better than the 2 that I saw, which I thought were amazing. So I'm really excited for this.
Wow. Did they introduce the major characters straight away, or are we going to get them drip?
A few of them we got in the second episode. We got most of the characters in the first episode. We got a couple more in the second. There might be some more, but I think all of the ones that we know about have been introduced, including someone we don't know about that they've managed to keep completely quiet about, and I will also keep quiet about, other than to tell you that there is someone else
like
that
a
you
major
don't know
character. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's really cool.
And it's not the casting announcement that's been hitting the news outlets today, which is that Adrian Holmes is playing Captain Robert April, or actually Admiral Robert April at this point, but he was Captain April of the Enterprise before Pike. And people may know him best as playing Uncle Phil on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But
the new one, surely.
Yeah, because there is a new Fresh Prince out.
Yeah.
Yes, the new one. Yeah, he's not old enough to have played the old one.
Yeah.
So people may not know him best unless you've seen the new Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which I am just now finding out there was a new Fresh
and
Prince
I haven't watched it.
I'm just reading this article that says
Will Smith will just come in and slap your head off.
Oh boy.
I think just not seeing it is okay.
We
We're not
went there.
making any negative comments about it.
Right. Is Will Smith in the new Bel Air?
He's producing
should.
it, but
He
beyond
should
that, I don't
be.
know.
He hands over the crown.
But anyway, okay. Adrian Holmes, he plays Uncle Phil in the Fresh Prince of Bel Air reboot. And he is playing Robert April on Strange New Worlds. I did get to see him play that role briefly in the premiere.
Cool.
And seems pretty decent to me. I didn't actually realize it was April at first. I think they say the name eventually, but like when he first shows up, you don't hear his name. But yeah, I think it's fine with me. There are going to be some people on the internet complaining, because there are always people on the internet complaining, because we did see Robert April in an episode of the animated series, and he was an old white guy in that episode.
And now he's a middle-aged black guy, basically.
Now he's a middle-aged black guy, yes.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't have a problem with this. It's a character who barely appeared before. He's, also in 3 dimensions in Strange New Worlds, and he was only in 2 in the animated series. So, we're already...
Yeah, he was brightly lit in the animated series, so...
There you go. Just everything was washed out.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I know this is going to seem ridiculous, but I had this like weird hope that they'd get Rod Roddenberry to play April, just for the consistency, since
that would
Gene's
be cool. Picture
is always the one that they use for that. But he's not an actor, so I don't know why I was hoping for that.
Right.
But there it was, But
that still would have been cool. But yeah, because in the Star Trek Encyclopedia by Mike and Denise Okuda, if you go to the Robert April article, it's a picture of Gene Roddenberry in a Starfleet uniform on the bridge of the Enterprise.
Well, I don't think you have to be part of the Screen Actors Guild to appear in a show, because plenty of people who are not actors have appeared in Star Trek, like Mae Jemison, the astronaut, and Stephen
Stacey
Hawking.
Abrams. Yeah.
And exactly. So, hey.
Yeah, for stunt act casting, I think there's a different thing for like a celebrity cameo than for an actual role.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was expecting to see Robert April maybe, if we saw him at all, like a couple of times on the other side of a view screen. So I wasn't expecting him to be an ongoing character. And that might not be the case.
I'm not sure if he's an ongoing character or not, but we definitely do see more of him than just behind a view screen in the first episode.
Well, one thing I will say about this is that it is consistent with the way Roddenberry did the casting for the original series, which was to, if needed, adapt the character to the actor they found. Okay. The example par excellence of this is Khan, of course, because Khan was supposed to be, Norwegian? Like a Thor type, I think.
Oh, and that makes sense for eugenics. Yeah.
So, but then he liked Ricardo Montalban so much that it wasn't, he's like, oh no, we'll rewrite it because this is better. So,
they could have rewritten it to be, Ricardo Montalban's actual ethnicity and not Indian, but he can only go so far, I suppose.
My point is, for those of you that would complain about this with Robert April probably aren't listening to us. I'd like to think, but
probably not. We've probably already pissed them off.
I'm sure of it.
And if we haven't, please let us know, because we love hearing that. At least until we hit the block button.
So if you have an issue with it, I would say just, we've retconned lots of things. And I don't know how we would retcon this other than, we wouldn't, but it just is. Don't worry about it. It's James R. Kirk is what it is.
It's just proof that this is not really in the prime timeline, Chrissy. Don't you understand?
I forgot about that. Well, that goes to what we were talking about with the episode today. So that actually works. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, everything Strange New Worlds, I'm looking forward to it. And yeah.
Yes, same. And we will be talking about that first episode next week. So, speaking of things with timelines, we have some things with timelines this week on Picard Hide and Seek. Tony, what were your first thoughts of this episode?
Oh my gosh. Where do you start with this? I mean, to state the obvious and say the show is dark, it's dark on so many levels, particularly the underground levels of the house they're in. No, it's a very dark show, and I don't know why it's filmed or shot in a kind of a horror movie style, in terms of there's spooky guys going around, there's all sorts of things happening in the background. Why does these events can't happen in broad daylight? I don't know, but it happened to be nighttime, and I didn't like that. And then the darkness of the storyline, which we'll expand on, I'm sure, later on. I find the whole series this time around very baffling. There's lots of things happening that don't make sense to me. They don't make sense because, particularly with flashbacks, and if we're going to refer to all the dream sequences that Picard is having, I haven't figured out the significance of those dream sequences. I don't know why we're being reminded that Picard as a child had a troubled little life, troubled parents or whatever. I don't know why we are delving into that when there are other issues at stake, like preventing some future event from changing the whole universe as we know it. And so it's incredibly baffling to try and figure out all the clues, so to speak. And I see it as a terrible diversion. That's my take on it. It's a baffling episode, but coupled with the previous episode, it's just baffling to me. And I'm sure it'll make sense in the end, but for now, I'm kind of floundering. So there, that's my thought initially.
That's all right.
Okay.
You probably made more sense of it, Chrissy, than I did.
You know what?
I don't know.
Here's something. I take my Star Trek in and just take it in, and I very rarely get into nitty gritties. Well, I have gotten into nitty gritties about plot things, but I haven't done that with these continual story ones because inevitably something gets explained later on. I hadn't thought about why are we getting this story, other than I was like, well, he's at the chateau and there's things at the chateau and that reminds him. And then I kind of connected it to Renee's depression. Okay. But of course that would be on the other side of the family, but it gives Picard an understanding. But yeah, when you put it that way, I have no idea why we're learning these things. God, it's not funny. I shouldn't laugh, but yeah.
No. But the thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, there's people who will know the life of Jean-Luc Picard inside out. But as we course through his life from the moment he took command of the Enterprise until the time he faced off his clone in Nemesis, I don't know that there was ever, apart from that one scene where he comes back to the chateau and the vineyards and he meets his brother, and they get along fine. Well, they fight and then they get along fine, but that's what brothers do. But apart from that, there was no indicator that he came from an unstable background as such, or a background that had problems. So in other words, if they had put something in the storyline that hinted at it, now would be a good time to reveal what that was all about. But we're brought into this and it's shocking. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say, what's it got to do with the story?
We do know that he and his father did not get along. And that he and his brother did not get along.
There's that scene in Tapestry where we see his father basically just lecturing him.
Yeah. And
right.
And I mean that does not have to relate back to this. There's lots of reasons why children and parents argue about things or have breakaways and that kind of thing. But and I was going to talk about this later, but if he let Yvette out of the room. And you can see where even the most understanding and loving Maurice might blame him for that. And
I see where
and Robert too, or Robert. Let me use the French pronunciation. But because he's not there, he's at school. Everybody, he's at school. Those of you that were asking, he's not there. He doesn't know what happened. He may not have known that Yvette was ill. And so you could actually line that up and see why his father and his brother act so terribly toward him, and why he wanted to get out of Dodge as soon as he could, which definitely we got in the various the little bit that we learned about his life prior. So, but maybe there'll be another connection. I don't know.
Well, there has to be. I hate they're kind of not loose ends as such, but they're little plot lines that are thrown in, and sometimes they get forgotten about, and they go away unexplained, and I don't like it. And anyway, that's the one thing that's getting me on this one. And if you're going to do a backstory about Picard, and if there is a point to it, this one was a very disturbing background. I mean, you might have referenced an event when he was 19 and he was trying to become a cadet and
get stabbed through the heart.
Yep. Something like that, whatever. But this is a weird.
That was after he was a cadet.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. And then that scene at the end, where he throws a brick through the window. I'm not really sure what that was. I'm sure there's some significance. Yeah.
That's an easy one. He painted those windows with his mother, and that's where she hanged herself. I mean, to me, that's a pretty straightforward.
Yeah, no, that one makes sense.
And he's dressed in suit and tie, so it's probably, I read that as either before or after the funeral. But that's me.
It was a bit.
That's how I saw that too, which is interesting because then we see that as the one room that wasn't rebuilt after the fire, like it was still covered in wreckage and stuff back before we went back in time. Yeah. And it explains why he wouldn't have wanted to touch that room.
Yeah.
And I can also see why Robert wouldn't have touched it either.
Yeah.
But regardless, I can understand why he may not wanted to touch that. Just because, especially considering he's buried these memories and tried to forget them.
It's not just a question of going back and thinking about what happened when he was a child. It's why here and why now.
Right.
Because if you kind of backtrack to the beginning of this season, Picard's on his vineyard and everything's fine. And then there's a kind of a meeting with Q. And then there's a time shift. And he wakes up in his normal surroundings, except everything is different. And Laris is gone, and there's the robot guy. And and then he has to find Guinan. And then for some reason, everyone is shifted in a different sort of a timeline, but they somehow come together. And then they do a time travel sequence back to the 2024. Now they're in a different timeline. Well, he starts off in a timeline, shifts to a different timeline, and now comes back in time to a different time. We have 3 different timelines going on here. And I'm sure timeline is probably going to come up later, but what the heck's going on? And so within the context of all that time travel shifting and whatever, why is his memory of his childhood so significant?
Yeah.
This, it's just, I can't figure it out. And at some point it may make sense. It makes sense. Anyway, we could discuss this all night. I'm not sure we'll get very far with it, but it just bugs the heck out of me.
That's kind of the idea, discussing it.
Yeah. Yes.
That is kind of what we're here for.
Yeah. True.
Yes, please not.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think the big reason why this is here is because Patrick Stewart has creative control over this show. and he wants to delve into his own personal childhood trauma.
You really think so? I mean, Patrick Stewart childhood issue. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite the way it's shown here. Like, I don't believe his mother committed suicide.
No.
But he did have a very traumatic childhood. His father suffered from PTSD from the war, and it was an abusive relationship. And I know that there have been a couple articles in the last few months where Patrick Stewart has said that he has used a lot of his own personal things to inform this. And it's because, he has a lot of control over this show. Like, to the extent that they've actually changed some things partway through the season to something that Patrick Stewart wants to do, from what I've heard.
Just going back to last week's episode, where Patrick is sitting in the psychiatrist's chair, and the guy who everybody thought was Julian Bashir is. At no point did he say, "Dad, what are you doing?"
At the end, he did.
He was never. Did he?
He recognized him.
Refer to him as his father.
He did at the end.
Oh, I missed that.
That's all right.
I must have gone to the bathroom or something.
It's very quick because he's like, "I know what you're doing, Father," or something like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do remember that line, but it didn't resonate.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'm just getting slow on these things.
Not at all.
I remember when it was just phasers and Klingons, and
it was never just phasers.
The good
and
guys
Klingons.
win. Oh well, I just want it to be.
Yeah, I understand.
Anyway,
One thing I will say, I agree with you wholeheartedly. The episode is literally dark. It reminded me.
I was getting a very Game of Thrones feel.
Game of Thrones and again X-Files. We come back to X-Files a lot this season, the last few episodes anyway. But it reminded me of when I was a kid and I would be watching X-Files and my mother would walk in the room and say, "Have they not invented lights yet?" I'm like, yeah, it's current time. They just like the dark. I don't know. So yeah, dark.
Anyway.
Not subtle.
Well, you couldn't show off those green laser lights in the daytime.
That's true.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah. I will say my thoughts on this one are complicated. I will say this is the first episode of the season that I did not love. There are things I like in this episode. There are also some things that bug me in this episode. And I think, like, the first thing I want to say, because there's been some discussion about this online, is this episode should have had a content advisory warning at the beginning.
Good statement. Yeah. Because
we see someone commit suicide, and that is very much a triggering thing for a lot of people, for a multitude of reasons and a lot of other shows do advisories like that. If freaking Law and Order could do that back in the 90s, then we can do this on Star Trek.
Think about that.
If Deep Space Nine on Netflix has an advisory about fear for almost every episode.
I shouldn't laugh, but yeah, you're right.
I have a fear of Jell-O every time I watch Odo get into his...
Of course.
I was really wondering where that was going.
I knew exactly where that was, yeah.
It's Jellophobia, is its technical term.
Speaking of disturbing, I was just pulling up the episode and seeing what kind of a content warning, and the only one that's here is a TVMA violence. So, yeah.
I mean, it's not technically wrong.
No, they're not. But there is
viewer discretion is advised.
Warning.
Yeah. There should... Yeah, they could definitely have done that. I know there were a lot of people upset about that, and rightfully so. It should have that warning. I don't think anyone should say, well, they shouldn't be allowed to show that, because they certainly can, especially in a TVMA rated show, but there should be a warning for it.
In some of the shows that here in the UK where I am, if it has a disturbing scene like that, you normally get, at the end of the show, some voiceover saying, if you've been disturbed by any of the scenes in this show, there's a helpline, and they publish the helpline, Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that in shows before, too. And that also would be a helpful thing. There is a suicide prevention line, and they should have included that. I agree.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And to be perfectly honest, what can we expect from the studio that showed us Dr. Culber getting his neck snapped like 6 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Icheb having his eye pulled out.
Yeah, but at least that wasn't... I don't think that was ever in the previously on, like, to continue on. Like, that's why I was thinking of Culber. Because after we saw that scene with Culber, then, like, for the rest of the season...
Remember?
When they did the previously on Discovery.
Yeah.
Paul Stamets gets him again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I really don't need to keep seeing that.
The only thing I can think of is that somebody might have thought it would be giving away a spoiler. But, like, that's serious. Like, I'm playing serious devil's Viacom Paramount's advocate there.
Yeah, I feel like it's not a huge spoiler anyway, because I already thought that she had committed suicide. Yeah. Like I had been suspecting that for a couple episodes at this point.
Yeah.
So
the only darkness to her. So they're playing hide and seek, which is obviously the title of the show. And before she decides to go down into the caverns or into the caves, she invites young Picard to come with her. Now, the second time I watched this episode and I was listening to those lines, it implied that whatever she was going to do to herself, she wanted to take him with her.
Yeah.
You can come with me, she said.
You're my light.
And I think that might have happened if he hadn't gotten stuck.
Yeah.
You know, I will go with that. And his dad kind of saved him or something. He knew that it had reached a turning point. And, but yeah, there's so much there. There is so much in that.
Yeah.
But, so that kind of didn't freak me, but it made me take notice of what, and again, it just comes back to what are the writers trying to say and what are they trying to, and if it is Patrick Stewart trying to highlight something from his personal life, should it be in Star Trek? I don't know, you know.
What's his platform?
And could it be handled a little bit more subtly? I mean, you know, it's graphic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, I mean, there's I love how they did the thing where everything was rewinding, but you do get that moment of when she actually does hang herself and her body's twitching. And that is, that's tough to watch. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, just to add a final cap on this, is she wearing her wedding dress? Because she's dressed in white.
No, I think she's wearing a nightgown.
Oh, is she?
It looked like a night. Okay. Yeah, that would have added another layer. That.
Yeah, I think it's a nightgown because we see that she's curled up with Jean-Luc in bed, and then she gets up and walks out. Yeah. So I think it's just a nightgown, which comes to another point that I have on this whole thing. I refuse to believe there wasn't something in that bedroom she could have used to kill herself.
Yeah.
I don't think Jean-Luc opening that door is what you know, made her do it. I think if she had been set on doing it, that she could have done it regardless.
Well, before she got locked in the room, there was a hidden weapon which he found. Didn't he find a weapon in a box?
That was the key.
Yeah. Yeah, but
that was the key to the door.
Where did he find the gun that he shot?
Oh, no, that was in the tunnels left over from the war. So yeah, I mean, God, I didn't connect those two things. Well, no, it wouldn't have been there if she'd put it there.
Well,
that was
if
left
it was
over
left over from the war, then they'd been up and down those tunnels many times. She didn't see it, trip over it.
Also, I don't know, even it's a stretch that it still worked in 2024. It really wouldn't have worked 200 years in the future.
Yeah. good old fashioned. Even it looked like maybe it was a Walther. I can't say for sure what kind of gun it was, but I'm sure it's not dry.
Some historian you are.
Yeah. I should have asked Jay. He would know. World War II is his area of expertise. But I don't feel like those tunnels are a dry, cool place where you can store ammunition without it, not being
I wouldn't think so.
No, I thought he picked it out of a box. I thought he opened a box and he went and he picks up the gun. He goes, this is still here, kind of thing. I don't know. That's in my mind's eye.
Well, he might have just been like, here's some stuff left over from the war. I'll root around in it and see what I can find.
I know we're kind of getting all over the place here. But
this is good. No, it's fine.
Yeah, but speaking of weapons, what was that weapon that Talon was using had the blue bolts coming out of it?
I assume it was some Romulan gun.
It looked like the Herodian gun.
It did look like the Herodian guns.
Good eye.
I mean, I doubt it was, but I think it did kind of look like it.
It's like, and the thing is, where did she get it from? Where did it, she just suddenly had it, and it didn't seem to come from anywhere.
I assume that she just had it, like, in, like, a strap or something on her coat. Yeah. That it was just a Romulan gun that she had.
Or she beamed it to herself from her apartment.
That's also possible, because she can do that.
Oh, yeah. It was a cool gun.
Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know.
And, it could theoretically have been a Herodian gun, now that I think about it. So, we know that what are they called? Supervisors, are, like, all over the place. And the Herodian, we also know from Voyager, have a pretty stagnant technological development. Because they were just off hunting everything. Because their communications relay system, I think, was like described as hundreds or possibly even thousands of years old. So Herodian guns, like we saw in Voyager, could very well have already existed in the 21st century, and the supervisors could have encountered them. Although that seems a bit far-fetched.
But we don't know when Talon is from. That's a thing.
I assume she's contemporary. We'd never get a time travel element with the supervisors. Not, like, specifically.
Yeah, I don't know if it was ever said that Gary 7 was a time traveler. And I might be thinking ahead to what was in the books afterward. But
right.
I don't know. I feel like with the supervisors that's... For everything that they do, time travel would not be a difficult add-on. So...
Now I kind of wish Talon was Herodian instead of Romulan. That would have been cool.
Hey, I'll tell you what I wish. I wish she could turn into a cat.
Yeah.
That would make sense. That's
the
speciality. Is just a moment, I've got a fur ball.
Mm-hmm.
and she wore a diamond necklace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That would be good. I mean, that would be like... Come on, guys. Throwbacks. This is crazy.
That would have been cool, though. I would... hey, we might still happen. Or we might even... It's theoretically possible Gary 7's still
wait
alive.
Wait a minute. Can she turn herself into a dog? And the dog turns out to be Picard's dog?
What?
Not Picard's, but Guinan's?
No, Picard has a pit bull.
I know, but in that earlier this season, Guinan also has a pit bull.
That's true. Guinan also has a pit bull. Maybe.
Suddenly it all comes together.
Yes.
Does it, though?
That explains why she's mad at Guinan, because Guinan won't give her as many treats.
It's true. It's true. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Okay, I hate to bring it back down, but I just want to point out one other thing about Yvette. We were in discussing this over the course of the week with various, my family members. There was that question of, why Maurice just locked her in the room and seemingly left her there. Okay, as opposed to locking her in the room and then going and calling medical help or, doing something, but actually, going to sleep and assuming that everything was going to be okay. In the previously on, there's the scene that is Maurice explaining that she's not well, but she refuses help. So we do have an explanation as to why he was trying to deal with this on his own. And that was important to me, because it didn't make sense in that day and age. That doesn't make sense now, so it wouldn't make sense then.
No. But even then, even if she refuses help, if she's clearly a danger to herself,
then he could have, yeah. But there's a difference between knowing that intellectually and having to call. Sorry, I speak from experience here. Having to call the police or call an ambulance because of that on a family member. Right. So it's because you don't want to think that that's what's going on. And so, yeah.
Sure.
So that at least explains that, because I really felt like he was being negligent until, and the only explanation I had was that they had decided together that she was not going to get treatment. And I think that's either she decided for them, or they had talked about it. But that at least explains why he wasn't looking for outside help.
Right.
Okay. Again, just obliquely here. We're in what century are we in with Picard at this stage?
Second decade 21st. Of the 24th.
No, sorry, 24th.
24th century. Yeah. And in our present generation timeline, we have drugs that help people with depression, and they don't have them 300 years later.
She may have refused to use them. Because we have people in the 21st century who also refuse.
Yeah.
For any number of reasons.
But he could have put it in her gin and tonic, Put it in her little cup of espresso. That's it,
What is this stuff? Prozac. Oh, it's a new kind of sugar substitute. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
I may cause drowsiness.
Right. Listeners, I say that with love for Prozac. Prozac has changed my life, so I am not making any negative comments toward Prozac or any of that. Meds are a beautiful thing.
No. But
yeah, that is kind of funny.
Yeah. The thing is that there are treatments out there that are non-invasive or just work whatever way they work. And each year they get improved and new improved Prozac for the 21st century user. Who knows? But the point is that, I put some of these scenes. Why did he not do something? Why did he not, why did he lock her in the room? In my opinion, bad writing. Not thinking it through.
Okay.
Just not seeing the end storyline here. Hey, that's a great idea. What we'll do is we'll lock her in the room, and then next week we'll find out she did something terrible to herself. And let's all do that. And then no one comes. Yeah, but what happens, 50 years from then, and how Picard is affected? Who knows? Yeah. I don't know. I just think it was kind of sloppy. I'm not a big fan of this week's episode. Put it that way. Yeah.
That's okay.
I don't think I recognized that yet, Tony. I'm glad you spelled that out for us.
Well, you had to drag it out of me.
I think when we see next week's episode, we might all feel better about this episode in the way that we did with some of the Discovery episodes. Not that we're going to feel better about what happened with Yvette, but just the generalized episode. Yeah.
So, one more thing I do want to cover before we move on from Yvette, as hopefully Picard will next episode. I very much liked the almost throwaway line where he says that he liked to imagine her as an old woman who offered him tea, because that takes us right back to the TNG episode where No One Has Gone Before, where they enter the region of space where things that they imagine happen, and he imagines his mother as an old woman offering him tea. And that just makes that scene so much more poignant, and I love the connection that we got.
That was a good connection.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. that brought tears to my eyes because it was just like, oh God, that's yeah.
All right.
That was a tough dissection of that scene.
Yeah. Needed, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So, we'll talk about something more fun, like the Borg.
Yeah, let's do. Yes.
All right. So we have emergency hologram Elnor.
Mm-hmm.
And the implications of this is that the ship is constantly scanning everyone who's on board at all times and, like, memorizing their entire mind. Because keep in mind that Elnor was on that ship for, like, 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, but the
died.
computers had a lot of time to analyze his mind after he died, so there's maybe...
I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had the same problem when I watched it first. And then because I was trying to reconcile it with what we learned about La Sirena in Rogue Elements, which was that and again, I know this is in the novel, not in the series, but the ship is set up to create helpers. Okay. Without spoilers of the book, and everybody should read it. It is a beautiful, light,
you should absolutely read the
funny
book. John Jackson Miller's Rogue Elements.
Yeah.
It's about how Rios gets La Sirena, and it is a very good book.
So you find out that it had been owned by this Klingon who didn't want to talk to anybody else. He didn't want to be around anybody else. I don't think he was actually dishonored. I think he was just, but
no, he was dishonored.
Okay. So he had all these set up with these holograms, but our La Sirena cannot read people's minds. We forgot, and I did too until I started thinking about it. This is the Confederation's La Sirena. And they're fascists. So yes, of course, it's going to do things like that. Why not? So, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a rant.
No, but how does it know what happened to Elnor? Because what happened to Elnor happened in a kind of a different multiverse version of him somewhere else.
It read his entire brain, so like it knows everything that he knows,
But
I guess.
how did it read his brain? Because he wasn't on the La Sirena to begin with.
I presume it's just reading the brains of everyone that's on the ship at all times, which has some serious security implications.
Yes.
But
yeah, again,
or it's also possible that it reads the entire brains of people that are stored in stasis in the medical, so maybe it only has Elnor's
or
brains.
maybe the ship is creating this whole hologram adventure story that everybody's in.
We're in a ship in a bottle situation?
A ship in a bottle, in a ship in a bottle. In a bottle.
Whoa.
Oh, what just occurred to me, though, and I hadn't thought of before we were discussing this. Girardi programmed that. And Girardi would have known how painful that would be if Rafi ended up running into it. And maybe she programmed him to say that. Maybe he doesn't actually... Well, of course, he went after the sword.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Craziness. But if the ship knew everything and you were on board and you said, computer, start up main reactor, we're going somewhere. And then the computer would say, are you kidding me? After what you did? There's no way we're going anywhere until
you want to do that.
Forgive your... No, so the ship can't really know everything.
No.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so my thought is that it's probably not that they're scanning everyone's mind all the time, but it may, because Elnor is in stasis in the medical bay, it may have a complete scan of
that's
his
a good
brain.
one. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And remember, the tech is just slightly different, just because our Starfleet, our Federation doesn't have the capacity to
wait a minute.
out.
So wait a minute. So when Borgie, Queenie, and Girardi take off, Elnor is still in the ship?
Yeah. I asked the same question.
Yes, yes, he is. I had forgot about that.
So he's going to come out all ninja-like and kill the Queen and restored Jurati back to her normal self again. Who knows?
Maybe. I don't know.
So, yeah.
Of course,
It's fun to speculate.
Yes. He could be the first after 7 of the ones who need a second chance. Actually. Okay. In this new Borg collective that we're going to see.
The new Borg collective.
So, speaking of 7 and second chances, there's... 7 was apparently not allowed to join Starfleet because she was formerly Borg?
Yeah.
What the heck's up with that?
Yeah.
Why don't we don't have any other Borgified people in Starfleet anywhere else?
We do.
Where?
Actually.
Hang on.
We talked about the scene where Icheb gets his eye ripped out. He was wearing a Starfleet uniform.
Hey.
Yeah. He was.
That's interesting.
And, I mean, Picard also.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't a problem leaving him in charge of the flagship during the Dominion War when the Borg could talk to him.
Yeah.
We know how easy that was dealt with. Yeah. So we can't possibly have a random ensign who actually knows how to work things on a starship do stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting... And she says Janeway went to bat for her, but she stopped her from resigning. Which makes sense.
I love that Janeway fought for her. That's great.
She would.
But I think it's bullshit that she wasn't allowed to join Starfleet.
Well, that could have been politics at the time. I mean, you do get different rotating admirals and the board of Starfleet people, and some have prejudices and some are cool, and she just hit the wrong people at the wrong time. And they weren't Borg friendly.
Each probably went through the academy.
I would imagine, yeah.
She probably would have said, there is no reason for me to go through the academy, which might have been a problem.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I mean, yes and no, because, I mean, it's not the first time that someone would have, joined without having to go through the academy. Look at Paul Stamets.
O'Brien. I mean, she could have been a...
Well, O'Brien was not an officer.
Right. But he didn't go to the academy.
Yes. Right. But I was thinking specifically Paul Stamets on Discovery.
Right, because he carries a lieutenant commander's rank, doesn't he?
He's a lieutenant commander, but he did not go through the academy. He was basically drafted into Starfleet and given the rank of lieutenant at first.
Hawkeye. Yeah. Sorry. MASH.
Yes. Yeah. Very much. Yeah. Yes. It took me a second. I was thinking. I was thinking Archer.
Yeah.
I was thinking the Marvel Hawkeye and not the MASH Hawkeye. But
when you said that they drafted him in, I was like, that's exactly what he says. I think it's in both the movie and the show. But anyway,
right? It's the same situation. Yes. So there's precedent. It's ridiculous. But on the same point. It's not the first time that we hear about a decision Starfleet made that's ridiculous in Picard, because there's the entire plot of season 1.
Well, okay. The era that Stamets was accepted in is, our time of cowboy diplomacy. I'll say that. The other thing is, and Tony, this is what I thought you meant at first. That's a quick way. For her to lie and say that is a quick way to just get Raffi to drop it. So maybe it's bullshit in that way. There was a lead up. There was like sometimes when they come out with these lines and Raffi is talking to her and saying, "You know what? You'd make a great captain." Mm-hmm. And then she actually says it twice. No, damn it, you are going to be you will be a great captain. And then you think, we're being set up. Somewhere Seven's going to get a ship and she's going to be a captain. She already is with
Well, that's going to be Picard season 4 will be 7 of 9 season 1.
Yeah.
But that's the way I read into these lines. They're not random. They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
And, and why say it? They're about to run across a field full of gunfire, They could have said, "Hey, what kind of pizza do you like?" It didn't matter what they were about to say because they might be dead 10 seconds later, But no, they had to talk about her being a great captain.
Yeah.
And so I think we're being set up for something.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
That's my thought.
Reasonable.
All right. So we have a whole bunch of different plot lines in this episode. We have the Rios subplot where he gets injured fighting Sung's Borg and gets sent back to Talon's headquarters with Teresa and her son. And boy, I'm really not sure how, because all season I've been saying Rios is going to stay behind in the 21st century, but now I'm not sure because he definitely seemed like he was saying a definitive goodbye there.
Yeah.
Well, that's until his ship got flown away.
That's another thing. I'm really wondering, how are they getting back to the 24th century at this point?
Oh, I think Q learns how to snap his fingers.
Probably. And I think this is...
Or season 3 also takes place in the 21st
beginning
century?
of it. I think we have a distinct possibility here of them being stuck and this being a cliffhanger, because I do not know how they are going to make this all... I don't know why I just did that weird voice. I don't know how they're just going to make this all work now in an hour.
Yeah.
There's way too much. And if we were left with a cliffhanger and I don't know, he leaves a message the way... Okay, so in City on the Edge of Forever, right? McCoy went in and he was... I don't know if they actually say this in the show, but he was leaving classified ads for them to find in all the major newspapers. So
they do not say that on the show.
Well, I know it's in...
What, is that in the Harlan Ellison comic book? Or
it's in the 40th anniversary novels where they go through what each man did in those circumstances. The Crucible set, yeah.
Okay.
But anyway,
remember a reference.
Yeah, Picard could have, Picard could leave a message somewhere that Captain Worf on the Enterprise E finds because he knows that he's going to come back and get him. And that might be how
it's like leaving Data's head in San Francisco.
Which is still there, actually. He couldn't leave the message there, but yeah.
Whoa!
What?
That's how Brent Spiner is in season 3. It's Data's head.
Just his head.
Yeah.
Yes! Brent Spiner's disembodied head is going to be in season 3.
No. That'll open up too many other plot holes later on. Yeah.
Well, no, because Picard will swear him to secrecy that he cannot say anything that he learns in this time period. So that's why he never says anything when he comes back in Time Zero.
It'll be a bit like something like Back to the Future, where Marty gets a letter, do not open until 2347.
Yeah. But that would also allow Spiner to still be in it. And that line that we heard, what is it? Evolution is... Oh, shoot. It sounded like the character he's playing now more than anything else. So that's the other thing that made me think that we might have a cliffhanger here. We'll see.
Unless Sung goes to the 24th century with them.
Yeah, or unless we find, I don't know, another Sung that's just...
Well, isn't there a connection between... Well, obviously there's a connection between him and... What was that? Forgive my memory.
Okay.
In Enterprise, where Sung was...
Is that an...
creating
Eric?
The...
Yeah.
That was Arik Sung.
Sung, yeah. Is he... He's further down the line from our current guy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe...
But, well, our speculation has been that all male Sungs, well, and apparently all female Sungs, are clones of the same... Yeah, are clones. So it's possible that there already is another Sung.
Yeah. Eric would be... Let's see, if you line up the timing, he'd be what, his great-grandson, maybe? Great-great-grandson?
Something like that, yeah.
Or great-great-grand clone. Grand clone. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at the same line. But yes, I stand by what I said a few weeks ago, which is I don't think that any Soongs have reproduced in the normal way, at least since this guy that we're dealing with in 2024.
So the Soongs are incels, is what you're saying.
Oh, gods.
Definitely.
This one is.
For sure.
This one is at the time where he could have invented it.
Adam Sung has really gone off the deep end, speaking of which. Like, it definitely seems to me that Corey leaving just completely broke him.
Absolutely.
Because he was a very different character before that happened.
Well, what's his motivation? Why is he building all these daughters, so to speak? Is he experimenting in robotic technology or an androidism?
No, it's just genetics at this point.
Yeah, but he's not the creator of the genetic war, or is he?
Well, he might be.
It's implied that either he is or he was involved, because that's why he gets booted out by Taya Leone in like episode 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's the implication.
Because he experimented on soldiers. Yeah. So that tells me, yes, I think he is the father of the eugenics war.
Mm.
And that would also make sense why they'd have a statue of him in the fascist future.
Yeah.
A safe galaxy is a human galaxy.
Yeah. As for why he was, making these daughters, for lack of a better term, just to prove he could. And maybe and maybe what this ends up is to prove he could is the next male Soong. That there's that one out there, and that's going to be the one that produces. We've created a whole headcanon on this anyway. So
Soong did not die in this episode,
no.
Right? He definitely ran away when that gun exploded.
Yeah. Tony, you're skeptical.
No, I left wondering the same thing you guys were. There's a flash, a bang, and he disappears. And he could have realized that the weapon was about to go off, and they all ran out the door very quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're implying by the fact that he wasn't there, other than the fact he wasn't there. He's gone somewhere.
He ran off.
They were in the room when the gun went exploded. Mm-hmm. They weren't hurt, so he could easily have run away.
I wonder if
I thought when those weapons exploded, they were like mini warp core drives going off.
Yeah, I thought so too.
As needed,
but obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think in this case, as the security response to someone who's not authorized trying to shoot it, I think you wouldn't necessarily want it to be a giant explosion because that might hurt other people.
Oh, yeah, it's not necessarily malicious. Good point. Yeah. Mm. Just vaporize itself. Yeah.
Or you with it if you're still holding on.
I guess, yeah. Right.
Well, he had to run away, bravely run away.
Oh, yeah.
So that he could come back and
bravely ran away. He did bravely, brave Sir Robin.
Yep, that was my first thought too.
Yeah. It's just a flesh wound.
Exactly. Go change your armor. Damn it. Oh, right. Before we get away from the Soongs, I think it was on Positively Trek, but I might be wrong. Forgive me if I'm misciting here, but there was discussion of how it would be really cool in the last episode because Corey was talking about how much she wanted to be on a beach and feel the ocean if we got a scene of her that ends up looking like the painting that Data did. Mm-hmm. So I just that's really cool. I just was going to put it out there because not my idea, but I love it and I hope we see it. So,
yeah, within the bounds of possibility.
All right. So the other big plot point we have is the Borg. We've got Jurati, who is apparently at least partially in control of herself now and merging with the Borg Queen. And they're a kindler, gentler Borg that we have no reason to fear. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
The new improved Borg. Yeah, it doesn't wash with me. I'm sure it doesn't wash with you guys either.
No, this is...
Come on.
Especially given the scene in the first episode where she shows up and starts draining all their power.
I mean, she does want to join the Federation, supposedly. So there's that.
Supposedly, but
yeah.
Yeah.
No. This made me think about the Coda trilogy again, because everything... Okay, spoilers for the Coda trilogy, briefly. Fast forward ahead 30 seconds if you haven't read it yet, and go read it. Everything ends up being the fault of the Borg. So, and the fault of what happened during First Contact. So it made me think of Coda. Way too much is making me think of Coda this season, and I don't know if that's my fault or if the writers intended that. And Tony, I'm sorry if you haven't read Coda. I didn't mean to spoil.
No, I haven't, but it doesn't matter. Yeah.
There's a lot to get to that, so...
Yeah.
But again, we are not dealing with the Borg as we know them. We're not dealing with our timeline Borg. We're dealing with Confederation Borg, whatever that's supposed to mean. So once Picard and the crew get back to their timeline, we'll never see them again. Well, they'll just be operating in an alternate universe in the, a bit like the mirror universe, in a way.
Possibly. I mean, I guess that is a mirror Borg, isn't it? For them to be not an enemy.
Yeah. And it's kind of not good in a and they all lived happily ever after kind of way, if that's where it's going. Because, what's the point of nice Borgs? There's just, if something is nasty, it's nasty. You don't have a friendly cobra. You have a killer cobra, and or Black Widow spider, or what's the killer spiders? Not the Black Widows.
Black Widow's a killer.
Yeah, there's another one that's
a killer. Brown recluse.
Well, no, I'm thinking of something else. Anyway, the point is,
there's lots.
It doesn't change its nature just because it merged with a different spider or something. It's still a killer spider, and it's going to kill you. It's what we do. So the Borg are the Borg.
It's interesting that you bring up non-sentient life forms there. I mean, that makes the difference. Cognition and reasoning and all of that. But I liked it better when the Borg were like bugs too. I don't disagree with you.
Listen, going back to the first season of TNG, when Q brought them forward to meet the Borg for the first time.
Yeah, Q-Who, season 2.
Was it season 2? That was the most incredibly frightening episode of TNG I ever saw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was like, my brain says, hey, this is just science fiction. My other part of my brain is going, this is an enemy you cannot kill.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot defeat them. I, for all the powerful brain cells that Jurati has, I doubt she could overcome the Queen Borgie person, even if she didn't have arms and legs. Well, she had arms, but no legs. But the point is that she's the Queen Borg for a reason. And and with all that technological distinctiveness added into her own, a Jurati is just a fly on the wall, a speck as far as she's concerned.
Yeah, I don't think Jurati has as much control as we might think. I think she may be in partial control now, and the Queen may also is probably helping her think that she's in partial control. But I think the Queen herself is still a definite entity here, and we will see more of that in the possibly very long episode next week. Like, I don't. Really. If they are resolving everything and they don't leave them in the 21st century, a lot of stuff is going to happen.
Well, who's assimilating who in this episode? You know, that's
a little column A, a little column B, I think.
I think Jurati wants to think that she is bringing the Queen to her point of view. But I don't think she actually did it. I think she's going to double cross.
And I think the Queen is certainly helping Jurati to think that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, that's my take on the Borg, on the Borg Queen. Mm-hmm.
Well, if you've read Destiny, you know that, again, although this is older, so I'm not as concerned about spoilers, because that's a decade old now, at least.
I think a little more at this point.
15 years, yeah. Anyway, the Borg were created out of desperation and an attempt to save, an attempt to do a good thing. So, you know, again, books, not show, but it did remind me of that too. So, I don't know. I think no matter what, we've
if
got
Captain
another
Erica
timeline.
Hernandez shows up in the finale, I am going to lose it.
Who?
You and me both.
Who did you say?
Erica Hernandez.
Captain Erica Hernandez, the captain of the NX-02 Columbia, who plays an important role in the Destiny trilogy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it. I didn't read an awful lot of it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I let the Star Trek book readers down on this one.
That's okay. That's nobody's.
That's okay. We can't all be Justin Ozer.
Oh, gods. I don't know how he gets through
these
Justin. Books so fast. We love you, Justin, but I don't know how you get through those books that fast.
We do. I am impressed and in constant awe of Justin's voracious capacity for reading Star Trek novels.
Encyclopedic knowledge.
Mm-hmm. And remembering it. That's the thing. You can read a book fast, but remembering it, that's the key. Anyway. But yeah, so I think unless we find out that the Queen is completely double-crossing Jurati and this ends up being the same Borg that we've always known, I think we now have a different timeline in addition to the two we're already dealing with. We may not.
I think so too.
We may not see it. We may not experience any of it. They may call, well, the Borg thing isn't resolved with this because we haven't gotten back to the beginning. But, you know, if that's what's going to happen, then that is an additional timeline that is just out there. Too much.
Well, she hints at it with the two Renees, doesn't she?
Yes. Yeah, what is up with that?
That's the different timelines. In one timeline...
Or is the Renee who dies Picard's nephew in the 24th century burned to death?
That was my first thought, but I was trying to connect the two, and how the only connection I could make was how it would affect Jean-Luc to have all of the familial deaths, you know, happen in nearly the same place in the house, you know. But other than that, how does little Renee Picard have anything to do with this? So I think it's going to be timelines. I don't think it's going to be the kid, but
then it could easily be two Renees. The astronaut lives, and little Renee sadly passes away in a fire.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Q squared. The one timeline where Jack Crusher didn't die is the one where Wesley did. So,
well, boy, we're reaching deep into the book.
This is what happened. Next week we're gonna come together and go, wow, we were full of it. Okay.
Oh no! It'll be perfect. Next week we won't talk about the books at all, and our guest is someone who has read all of them.
Not Justin, but no. Watch it. That'll be funny. There'll be no book connections at all. I don't think that's possible. Yeah, I don't know about the Renees. It occurred to me that what is this life form that she finds? Maybe.
Yeah. I've been wondering about that since we first heard about that. What on Earth happens.
Titan.
It must be, well, not on Earth.
Not Titan, excuse me. You're
You
robot.
made that same joke last time, too.
I'm
and
sorry.
It makes perfect sense, yes. Well, no, because I said the same stupid thing.
No, it's not stupid.
But what happens? How does this prevent fascism? What does this alien do that prevents fascism? This life form fights fascists, I guess.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, no, I was wondering if maybe... What if it's not Renee that comes back? What if it's the life form as Renee? But nobody knows that because it takes on her life. And then you have a Renee who dies and one who lives.
So and the actual Renee really dies.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Although, again...
That's a thought.
I don't know how that changes things, but...
We're
find
in
out. Speculation territory. Yeah.
I mean, I still definitely want to know. I'm still invested. I want to see more.
Mm-hmm.
This episode was a bit of a mixed bag for me.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we did a good job breaking it down.
Yes.
I think so.
I don't know. Did we confuse more people with our thoughts than we intended to? And did we confuse ourselves?
I mean, I assume we always do that.
Yeah. This is true.
Before we step away completely, two things I wanted to bring up. First of all, they have been really good about this type of thing, not doing this, but this time I just had to laugh because when Rios and Dr. Ramirez and Ricardo get to the apartment, and the first thing he says is, take him to lay down. He's in shock. He needs, put him a blanket over him. And I'm like, how long has she been practicing medicine? I'm pretty sure she would know that. But,
Yeah, but then he just assumes she knows how to use a tricorder.
And then that's right. And then she's handed 24th century or 25th century technology and knows somehow. Now, admittedly, what does she use the tricorder to do to see where the bullet is? That's something that I think if you knew how to turn it on, you could probably figure out from our, era.
Probably.
But then we don't know, what happens after that. She might take out the bullet manually with tweezers, but she at least reacts to that the way I expected her to react to the replicator, which was, she says there's an entire ER in your pocket. And what she could do, what help she could be with that. So I was glad that was addressed. And then the other thing, nobody reacts to the ship taking off except Rios kind of going, my ship. But only two of them know what actually happened. Everyone else should have been freaking out. Picard and Talon and Rios should have come running going, oh my God, what happened? How could you let them do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. They know more than we do.
I think the impression I got was that they were really just happy that Rafi and Seven were still alive.
Yeah, but Talon and Picard watch the ship take off from the, whatever that is, the solarium or whatever, the greenhouse, and are just watching it. They're not going, oh my God. So the only thing I can think is there was a quick hit the comm badge. Hey, we're letting the Borg Queen take it. We'll explain later. It's okay.
Yeah, or else they were in shock and they needed to lie down and have a blanket thrown over
That
them.
might be. That might be.
That's also possible.
Yeah.
It's going to work out next week.
These things.
We'll find out.
It is. It has to. It has to. I can't wait.
All right. So, canon connections. I had one big one, which was when Sung says, in another future, I imagine we might have become friends, which I think is a twofold reference. It's obviously a nod to Data and Picard being friends.
Yeah.
But also, it is very similar wording to what the Romulan commander, played by Mark Lenard, says to Kirk before he destroys his ship in Balance of Terror.
That's right. And they are supposed to represent fascism. That's interesting. I hadn't made that connection. Good catch. Good catch.
Although, I mean, the Romulans were sort of a Chinese stand-in, so not really fascism, but yeah.
Yeah.
Rome.
No, sometimes these lines go over my head, and I don't make those connections straight away. So
that's okay.
I know they're. I know they're.
I mean, I also watched the episode 4 times.
Oh,
so.
well, you're two ahead of me.
But still, I know I know they're being cryptic, and I know they're implying something, and I know they're practically screaming out, "It's episode 7, season 3, you dummies," or whatever show it is. And you're supposed to know this, and there are people who do. They know every line of dialogue. But in this.
I can't claim to.
No, nor can I.
But on this occasion, it escaped me entirely.
That's all right.
I know when they're doing it, I just don't know what they're referring to sometimes.
That's okay. Sometimes we don't either.
Yeah.
The only other one that I had, other than a non-canon connection, which doesn't sound right, but I'll explain. When we see young Jean-Luc sitting at the table with his lemonade and he's playing with a model, it's an NX-01 refit. And then there's an Excelsior class in a cabinet behind him. I did not see that. I saw it in the Trek Core article, so credit to Trek Core on that one. My non-canon connection. Maurice is reading from a pad, not a book. He hates technology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Trek Core, also because I also read that article, makes a point on that.
Okay.
That, yes, Maurice Picard is a noted Luddite.
Yes.
But in the 24th century, there probably aren't printed newspapers.
Good point. And you've just exposed the fact that I only skimmed the article and didn't read it well. But, yeah, that's a good point. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Did you read it on a pad? Or did you
as a matter of fact, I did. I read it on my phone, which is essentially a pad.
I honestly wouldn't have been shocked if you had told me you printed out the Trek Core article, because I know you print out in all your notes. So
I print out my notes so that I can write directly on them while we're talking, and I'll know what I'm trying to reference. But no, I don't print out.
I got my,
see, there you go.
Oh, hang on. Yeah. Where's it gone? It's disappeared. Hey, that's
I'll
it's been assimilated. There, I saw.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm completely digital with that sort of thing.
No, and I am with a lot of things too. Like I used to carry around a notebook with all of my lectures printed out in it, and then I got a tablet, and I went, "There's no point in carrying around a 20-pound notebook with all my lectures in it." But for this, I like to have paper. Anyway. Yeah, I guess.
So yeah, that's probably why he has the pad for reading news and whatnot, because it's probably the only way to easily do that.
Yeah, and he doesn't allow a replicator in the house, even to print him a newspaper.
Right.
That's a good explanation. I will accept that. All right.
But then again, no, I was going to make some reference about his dad reading off the pad, but then his dad was also the psychiatrist and he was doing something. But were they the same people? Or was Picard
one was
projecting?
In his head, and yeah. I think I took the flashbacks as his actual memories, as this is something that was actually going on.
Yeah.
As opposed to when he was stuck in his head with his father, the psychiatrist, being stuck in his head.
Can we just revisit the flashbacks? Because I just had a flashback.
All right.
Why? And I know you guys mentioned it last week.
Mm-hmm.
But why did he have a flashback of the Vulcans?
He didn't.
What was the significant?
It was the other guy.
Who?
Yeah, that was
Agent Mulder.
That was Agent Wells.
That was
remembering
Agent Wells. That's right.
The Vulcans that he encountered when he was a kid.
This is the problem with this show. Everybody's running around in the dark with torches and trees and
in each other's minds. Yeah.
It's like, what the heck, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was just Picard explaining it, which was good.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Yep.
What's next?
I think that's it for the canon connections. I think that's more or less it for this episode. I guess we should probably talk about the fact that Corey wasn't in this episode at all.
Yeah, I'd have that down. Final thoughts are, for me, I think we're going to have a cliffhanger, at least for part of it. And where's Corey? And what is she doing?
I'm subscribing to your theory, your Data's head theory now. I really like that, where they leave a clue that Worf, Riker, et al. Find and come back to help.
Okay, but let me be clear. I don't think it's actually in Data's head.
No. I meant Data's head in the metaphorical sense, not the literal sense.
Yes. Well, cool.
Although, if it is actually Data's head, that would be amazing too.
Okay, let's see. It's 2024. I have to go find the Presidio. We're going to go down there. We're going to put the message in. He's going to remember it when Geordi wakes him up, and then he's going to write it down in a message that is meant to be sent.
He's going to save it as a subspace message that will only be sent at this time.
That's almost
yes, I love
that's
it.
almost equally complicated as what happened in Clues. Not Clues, Cause and Effect.
Yes.
All right, that's it. I'm done with that. Baseless speculation. Yeah.
I will always be confused as to why Beverly Crusher's champagne flute was predestined to break no matter what happened in Cause and Effect.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a whole other story. I can go on Galaxy Class and rant about that sometime.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. Crossover episode. Yeah.
Anyway, Tony, thank you very much for joining us today. Where can our listeners find you online?
Hey, well, right now, just Twitter. And the handle is Shamrock165. And do I need to explain what Shamrock165 means?
If you want to.
Actually, yes.
Oh, you do? Okay. No,
I don't know what it means. Right. So,
I'll say, well, many moons ago, I worked in the airline business and in Ireland, and I worked for the state airline, which was called, or still is, Aer Lingus, for those who don't know what that is. But anyway, Aer Lingus, their call sign is Shamrock. All the aircraft are called Shamrock. And one of the flights that I flew on was Flight 165.
That's cool.
And that's where Shamrock 165 comes from.
Very cool.
So it's a crazy...
I'm sorry, I can't hear Aer Lingus and not giggle. Just because it sounds like
Thad,
something else.
If you giggle, we'll have to come and...
I was actually going to ask why they're using Latin for tongue, but I'm assuming it means something else in a different language.
All right, that's interesting. What do you think it means?
I think lingus is Latin for, it's either tongue... I got to look. Hence the term that Thad was laughing
because
about.
Because of the one that I was laughing about. If you're going all
Latin on us, then you are going down that road. But it's not Latin, it's Nordic.
That's what I thought.
And it comes from a derivative of what would be the long ships, the long ships. And so it actually, in Gaelic, it means fleet of airships.
Cool.
Okay, that's cool.
That's, but it's...
I'll try not to laugh anymore.
Yeah. And speaking of, no, I don't, there's any, we're digressing off just slightly, but I saw something funny today, and I didn't know if you posted it, Chrissy, or on Facebook.
Maybe.
Somebody posted it. Oh, it was a conversation about Natalie Portman playing a female Thor.
Oh, that wasn't
in the Thor movies.
Okay.
And somebody said, she looks ripped as female Thor in the new Thor movie. And then somebody chipped in and said, I don't remember Thor being in any Greek mythology. And then somebody nipped in underneath and said, that's because it would be Norse mythology.
Oh. And also it would be Loki, not Thor, but yeah. Loki changes sex whenever he feels like it in the actual mythology.
Right, but Thor was female in the comics, so like it's not like they made this up for the movie. There's a whole comic book series about it.
Right, but it was just the person's ignorance about it being...
or intending to be, trying to be funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, Twitter, Shamrock165. That's where you find me. Until we
I was
get
not
on the
following
Hive Mind.
you, and I have just fixed that.
Yes.
I will be contributing to the Hive Mind as and when.
Cool.
social.
There's very little. You have very little control. Your distinctiveness will be added to our own.
This is true. Your listening culture,
unless we're the kinder, gentler, newer Borg.
Yeah, in which case, what? The Borg adds their distinctiveness to somebody else's? I'm not even going to get into that.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll borrow your distinctiveness now and again. And then we'll give it back when we're finished.
We'll advise you on how to use it unnecessarily.
Yes.
Chrissy, when you're not invading an elderly man's house to, stop time to make sure the fascist timeline happens, where can people find you?
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, that one fell apart.
No, that's all right. I was trying to, I was following it, and then I lost it. But, right. So in addition to here on Infinite Diversity, you can find me on History with the Zalagis here on BQN. And that's a twice-weekly history short podcast I do with my fellow historian partner, Jason. I know we had no episodes last week. It was finals week. We were grading. We did nothing but grade all week. But there will be episodes this week lined up. And I'm also on Twitter at The Goddess Livia. That's TheGoddessLivia, where I tweet about Star Trek history and leftist politics. Oh, and I'm happy to chat about our shows in the BQN Collective on Facebook. So we'll talk there too. So, Thad, where can people find you when you're not trying to figure out technology that's 3 centuries ahead of you in order to use it for medical procedures?
Best place to find me is also on Twitter. I'm at Tyrannicus. That's Tyranicus. You can also find me on the podcast I do with my friend Carl called License to Spiel. That's license with a C, the British way. It's about the James Bond films. And you can also find me in the BQN Collective from time to time. And speaking of the BQN Collective, don't forget all our other great shows on BQN podcasts, like History of the Zalagis, as Chrissy mentioned, but also Galaxy Class, All Good Things, and Mickey's Marvels.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Infinite Diversity. Thanks to Zach Tripp for the wonderful theme music, and Tony Robinson here for the great show art. Please subscribe in your favorite podcast player, and don't forget to rate and review us there as well.
If you want to reach out, you can find the network on Twitter at BQN Podcasts, or our show specifically at IDIC Podcast. You can also talk about any and all of the BQN podcasts in our Facebook group, the BQN Collective. On the next episode, we'll be talking about the Season 2 finale of Picard. Farewell. Until then, peace and long life.
It's jellophobia, is its technical term.
Didn't they deal with that on Third Rock from the Sun?
Did they? Oh, gosh.
Did you ever watch that?
I watched some of the episodes, but
there was a running... maybe it wasn't even a running joke. Maybe they just did it a couple times, but people would bring them Jell-O with like the fruit suspended in it, and they thought it was like evil. Yeah, anyway.
Well, that's because Jell-O with the fruit suspended in it is gross.
You have to have the right kind. Raspberry Jell-O with mandarin oranges is delicious.
I would argue that mandarin oranges are never delicious.
Okay, well, then we'll discuss other things then.
Although, I will say, Jell-O with the fruit suspended in it is better than if you ever look at some cookbooks from like the 50s, where they have like meat and vegetables in Jell-O.
Yeah.
Like, that's some terrifying stuff.
Yeah.
They used to have vegetable flavored Jell-O too, like asparagus Jell-O, and it's like,
yeah, you could get a Jell-O salad. My mother made one year for like Thanksgiving, and she ate it, and my father-in-law ate it, and the rest of us were like, "What's wrong with you?" That's just disturbing.